Hi, welcome everybody. We have a very special guest today, Adam Marafioti, the founder of LifeBlud. Welcome, Adam.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be in your store and can't wait to visit in person.
Yeah, right on. So yeah, we got a special announcement. Might as well put it out there right now. Thursday, July 6th, Adam is going to be in Calgary in store. His company's based out of Ontario. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about his journey with kind of health, nutrition, where he's landed, some of the things that he offers. We'll get into some specific questions about some of his products. But if you don't know Adam, if you don't know LifeBlud, this is what he describes as a bioenergetic focused supplementation company, and a very well curated selection of super high quality supplements. And we recently brought them into Light Cellar to a resounding joy from our community. Many people know you, Adam, and what you're bringing to the world. So you're definitely out there doing good things.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm really glad to hear that. And yeah, I'm trying to, I guess, with just being someone, another person who's preaching the bioenergetic message, I'm trying to help people understand what that really means and, how it applies to us and understanding health and our lives and how we can navigate, being participants in alternative and holistic health. So I've been trying to distill that and the point of view, which comes from the work of certain, researchers and doctors like Dr. Gilbert Ling, who basically proved that there's no pumps or like cell membranes. And so, and then Dr. Ray Peat and others, Albert St. Georgi, basically what this whole view is getting at is we've understood, we've proven that the sort of consensus biology is basically wrong. Like, from a very large percentage is very wrong, and consensus biology says that the human is kind of like this car with a physical component of sort of like tubes and pumps and channels, and then there's like a DNA component, which is like a computer. So it's almost like they see us as basically like a modern day car, but that's actually not how the human body works at all. And there's adequate proof of that. And now it's, I think it's up to us to now understand, okay, so that isn't true. And now how do we formulate a sort of a better view of what it is to be, a human, and how to create health and stuff. And, it comes down to understanding sort of the electromagnetic and electrical components of life and the body that interface with the physical. And so understanding metabolism from that perspective has been very refreshing for me. It doesn't mean that, physical things aren't important, like vitamins and minerals and food and all that kind of stuff. But this bioenergetic perspective does bring to light the importance of frequency and electricity and sort of electromagnetism. And it's about combining those things and understanding the importance of both. And that's kind of like where I've been at lately and what I've been trying to understand. But yeah, coming back to my products and stuff, a lot of them have to do with understanding metabolism and how the metabolism works, which is basically an electrical process of the body using what we intake. So we have food and all its constituents like minerals and vitamins and water and stuff, and macronutrients, as well as oxygen. And throughout the body, our cells are breathing oxygen using food and turning that basically into water, and turning that into water and heat, which then creates structure, basically like Jello, water with proteins, and that makes up entirely who we are. And that process is electrical in nature. There's an electron flow, and the structure process is interdependent with energy. So that process that creates structure is also what gives us energy. And so things like magnesium, B vitamins, those things are very crucial for that process. And they have an awesome impact on the metabolism. And I have a product called methylene blue, which is very specific to that process as well, which helps carry electrons through the cell, basically when it's been poisoned by pesticides or bad food, seed oils, et cetera, over a lifetime. The whole flow of energy can be impeded, and methylene blue does an amazing job at reinvigorating that energy process. And then we have the fat soluble vitamins, vitamin E, vitamin K2. Vitamin E, amazing for having an antioxidant effect, especially on a lifetime of seed oil consumption. Based on all the foods we've been eating, I probably don't have to get into that. I'm sure your audience is aware. And vitamin K2 having a similar effect as magnesium, which is helping to direct calcium back into the bones, so improving bone density and stuff. And then, understanding magnesium as well, I have a product called Mag Plus, and I also have a product called Balance. So I have two magnesium products, and I've been talking about the importance of magnesium for a long time, but this is, I think, a very important point when talking about magnesium, is that the energetic sort of physical reality of stress is calcium flooding into the cell. And having an abundance of magnesium is actually what creates basically like a polarity. Like imagine two batteries like fighting against each other. So when you put magnesium into the cell, it basically pushes the calcium back out of the cell. And that's why it's important to have an adequate influx of magnesium, especially during the excitation or stress process.
Yeah, what would you say? I recently heard somebody share that, you never want to take magnesium long term without balancing it with calcium. I mean, I think everyone would agree and sees the importance of supplementing with magnesium. Like you say, it's involved in so many critical processes throughout the body. Do you feel from our diet we get enough calcium, or what's your perspective on that?
Yeah, it definitely depends on what the person is eating. We have, tons of people are dairy free and whatnot. So are they even consuming enough calcium is a very good question. Calcium, I would say, is really important to get at least 1 gram a day. And you can, if you don't do dairy, I guess you could do leafy greens, and you could find other certain foods that have calcium in them, but you'd be hard pressed to get yourself 1 gram a day without doing dairy and without being super, super diligent about that. So yes, I do definitely recommend consumption of calcium. And in my opinion, it can be done through food. I guess pearl powder would be another option for those who are dairy free. But yeah, to have about 1 liter of milk a day would give you 1 gram. About, I think it's 150 grams of cheese gives you about 1 gram of calcium. And so not only is that good for mineral balance overall, but also there's the parathyroid hormone, which actually raises in calcium deficiency. And what that does is it basically tells your body, okay, we have a deficiency of calcium. It's not coming in through the diet. So now we need to pull calcium from the bone in order to basically use it in the blood. And so you'll have a calcium deficiency, which then pulls calcium from your bones, which is where most of it is supposed to be. And then you have high blood calcium. So on a blood test, someone who's not eating enough calcium will actually show high serum calcium. And that's where, you know, that information can trick people, and especially trick doctors and people with very surface level type of interpretations. So yeah, I do really think that that's important. And when I was talking about the stress process of taking calcium and putting it in the cell, it's not coming from your diet. You know, that if you're getting stressed, the calcium can come from wherever it's available. Just like, you know, when you're deficient in calcium, it's being pulled from your bone. So actually consuming dietary calcium is what is going to preserve your body from taking calcium from your bone and stuff where it actually should be. And then things like magnesium and K2 also help with that process of basically orchestrating this whole mineral complex.
Cool. That's awesome. And, you know, I think it goes without saying, but I'll just kind of clarify. I know that you and I are on the same page in terms of source of milk being raw milk, grass-fed, fermented, as a further addition many times as well. So cool. And you mentioned the idea of the fat-soluble vitamins, and somebody watching might go, okay, well, you know, I've heard that vitamin D is really good. And I'm just curious, in your lineup, I'm sure it must be very intentional that you do not have a vitamin D, or even in your K2 blend, you know, there's no vitamin D. What's going on there, Adam?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I think it's very important to know that vitamin D is actually a steroid hormone, and it's not a vitamin at all. Now, what that means for us really is, so the hormones are basically like signaling molecules, and they're much more a result of your environment, your diet, your thoughts, your emotions, etc. So like your entire physical and emotional environment, and input. That's sort of more a resulting factor, and hormone expression is balanced by us balancing all these inputs, and by us creating great healthy environments for ourselves. They're not, I guess, you know, primary inputs themselves. You wouldn't get tons of vitamin D from food, while you can get some vitamin D from food, like from certain fish products and certain food products that are left out in the sun, mushrooms, etc. But what should be happening primarily is that you're taking in cholesterol from food. Your body uses sunlight to activate cholesterol in your skin, and it goes through a multi-stage process to convert cholesterol, which is the precursor to all steroid hormones, with enzymes that require minerals and water and all these things to work, like actual true micronutrient constituents. And then this process actually creates vitamin D, which gets stored in your liver and then is actually used in your kidneys. And so it's transformed through many different forms, and it can be stored in your skin, it can be stored in your muscle, in your fat tissue. Unfortunately, when your doctor takes a vitamin D test and decides to tell you that you're low, they only measure your blood. And so your main storage area for the vitamin D is your liver. The next is the skin, the fat, the muscle tissue, and they're testing the blood. So it's like telling you have an empty tank of gas by checking your fuel line. And so it's really an irrelevant statement. It's not that it's right or wrong. It's just that it has no relevance, no significance. And treating low vitamin D by taking vitamin D it's simply a reductionist approach. And you just have to understand that when you take vitamin D, you are basically taking a steroid. And with any steroid use, it requires a lot of caution, much more than is used now. And I would say it should require a little more expertise or thorough sort of, either whether you're doing testing or working with a practitioner, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, vitamin D for daily use, not necessary. You live in the winter, 6 months a year, 8 months a year, still not necessary, because your body, again, has all these storage mechanisms that when everything is flowing properly, you've given it adequate nutrition, you're working on not poisoning yourself with the environmental pollutants and pollutants in, bad food, etc., then your body will be converting vitamin D, taking it from your skin, from your fat, from your muscle, and bringing that into your liver and then your kidneys to be used all throughout the winter. And then in the summer, again, is when you replenish your storage.
Yeah, cool. No, beautiful. I love that analogy as well. It's like checking the fuel line to see if the tank is full or not.
That one is from what's his name? Jim Stevenson, I think is his name.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's hop back to magnesium just for a sec. So we got your Mag Plus here, which is magnesium, glycinate, and taurate. There's so many different forms of magnesium out there, and people often debate, which one is the best. And I've heard, well, if it ends in an 8, then it's good. By 8, I mean ATE. You could have chose anything to put into your product. Why those two?
Yeah, I find that not only, so the beauty about the amino acid form magnesium are that you not only get the benefit of magnesium, but you also get the benefit of the amino acid that it's bound to. And so when you go to basically like Shoppers Drug Mart or, whatever, I don't know, in America, it's like CVS or something. When you go to one of those stores and you just grab the one magnesium product they have on the shelf, you're basically getting magnesium oxide. And magnesium oxide has been shown to have in the single-digit percentage of bioavailability, meaning it basically passes right through your body, and it's almost like a laxative. It can be at higher doses, and so it's not being used. It's basically running right through you, and what happens with the amino acid form magnesium is that basically in your stomach, so the magnesium, let's say magnesium glycinate, is part of the weight is in the amino acid, so in glycine, which is like an amino acid in collagen and bone broth, etc. It's what makes us jello beings, ligaments, skin, tendons, etc. And then the rest of the weight is in magnesium. So one molecule of magnesium is bound to 2 molecules of glycine, and that's what makes magnesium glycinate or bisglycinate. It's the same thing, 2 names for the same thing. And so your stomach basically will use stomach acid, cleave that apart, and now you get glycine into your system, and then you get the pure weight in magnesium that gets absorbed. And glycine and taurine are specifically important because in your liver, your liver actually creates bile salts from glycine and taurine. So that's bile salts are basically what help you to digest nutrients, to digest fat soluble vitamins, digest fat in general. And the flow of bile is basically what helps your liver function and your body process everything that you take in. It helps you detoxify from like environmental pollutants and things that your liver is processing through into the intestine. It's like a detergent. And so the constant creation of these bile salts and flow of them from created in the liver into the gallbladder and then excreted into the intestine, this is a very, very important process. And so you're getting not only the benefit of the magnesium, but also these two amino acids, which are the two main amino acids that create the bile salts. So I think it has this synergistic effect of helping the body do all these different functions, which, you know, bile has been my passion over the past like 6 to 8 months. Yeah, so I think that's very, very important.
Cool, right on. Well, I want to respect your time, and those that are watching, I want to keep our time short. I got one last question for you. Take kind of as little or as long as you want to answer this, but how have you come to, the knowledge that you have? What has shaped your life path that you've ended up, where you are, who you are, doing what you are, especially in the face of kind of, counter to the mainstream narrative. I know that's not tough when it comes to food nutrition. You just start digging a little bit and you go, wait a minute, everything we've been taught is completely wrong. Everything that's getting putting out there is leading us down a wrong path. But you've come out the other side. Here you are on the path that you are. What has been that journey for you?
I think just at a younger, in my earlier 20s, I felt this aging process happen where, one day I just woke up and I was like, is this what it feels like to be old? Because I'd only known sort of like late teens, early 20s, basically feeling amazing, feeling immortal, could, party all night and stay up all night, sleep 2 hours, go to a soccer tournament, play soccer all day, go party again, and wake up and just, like totally just keep doing the next thing, go to school, etc. And it was just, never feeling bogged down, etc. To one day just essentially feeling bogged down, feeling like I was aging. And once I figured out that wasn't the natural aging process, I just started looking for answers. And what I did essentially was what I knew how to do, was just go on the internet and try to figure it out. I knew that basically a doctor would give me a fork in the road, which was like, you can take this drug or, you can go back home and feel the same. And so I knew that wasn't adequate. And then I just kind of found the alternative health community through YouTube and through this guy, the Life Regenerator, who was like this big juicing raw vegan guy back in the early 2000s and 2010s. And I just got super inspired to taking my health into my own hands. And that sort of led through a series of experimentations with different diets like raw vegan, juicing, fasting, extreme water fasting and intermittent fasting, to different supplements, herbs, superfoods, tried tons and tons of stuff. And over the years, I've not only been able to refine sort of what I think works, but also my understanding of health and dieting and, what any of that means. Because at the surface level, you kind of just, when you first get into health, you just get, oh, take this because it helps your kidneys, take this because it helps your liver. And you don't really have an explanation why, or, you have no context for what it is, how we create wellness, what that even is, or what the body is. So yeah, over the years, I've distilled that information. I've just been super fascinated to find out what might be the truth there. And then I guess along the way, I found out that many of the supplements on the market, almost all of them, are either ineffective, which is maybe the most important part, is they don't study the forms of different vitamins and minerals very well, or they don't process them in a way that's helpful to us or helpful for us. So you have like chemical solvents in processing in fat soluble vitamins, or you have the wrong forms of minerals that are basically ineffective, like the magnesium oxide thing, or and then beyond that, you can have additives in the capsule, you have preservatives, you have things that are like basically filling agents. They just want to make the capsule look full, so they fill it with wood pulp or whatever, like things that you just don't need to be consuming. And yeah, I've just kind of figured out that I could make better products, and I want them for myself. I want them for Canadians who didn't have access to these products before, and I want to share them with my family, friends, and a lot of people now have picked up on that, and they want the products as well. And I've been really, really happy to share that whole experience with everyone. And it's been amazing just that people really like the products, and it's because I wanted to like them too. And being kind of on the ground with everyone, being super interested in our health and careful about what we put in our body has been sort of the driving force behind my journey and the business and everything else, and all the products.
Yeah, cool. Well, really appreciate it. You're on a great path, man. And
Thank you.
that's always the way, us entrepreneurs, we often start with kind of our own journey, solving our own problems and creating the things, making available those things that we need and want. And it helps others in that process as well. And thanks for being a voice of so not only a supplier of incredible high quality, as you say, bioenergetic focused supplementation, but then also that breakdown, right? Love the chat that we had today, the insights that you shared. I'm stoked to get on another call with you. We can talk about the B vitamins, we can get into the progesterone, all that stuff as well. And like we mentioned at the top of the show, we're going to have you here in Calgary. So I'll post a link down below. That kind of event will be live up on our website, so folks can register, and it'll just be a nice kind of informal gathering. We'll get you sharing a little bit more. We'll kind of open it up to Q&A, and just for kind of our community to connect with you in person, for those that are able to come join us live, and then we'll also live stream it for those that are not able to join us that night as well. So, hey, thanks so much for your time today, Adam.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for having me. And I'm excited to meet you on July 6th.
Yeah, cool. Right on. So just before we part ways, let folks know who are watching how they can continue to connect with you, stay in touch online.
Instagram is Adam Marafioti, one word. LifeBlud Co. Is my business Instagram, all one word. And my website is LifeBlud, spelled with BLUD instead of 2 O's, .co. And I'm pretty responsive on Instagram to DMs and stuff. So if you got any questions, you can send them my way or contact us on the website. And thanks for listening and checking us out.
All right, sweet. Okay, well, I'll have all those links down below as well, and the July 6th event. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Give it a thumbs up, give it a share, and we'll see you on the next call, and hopefully the 6th. Okay, thanks again, Adam.
Thank you.